Hello, WealthLab users. Glitch here with Robert. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Dion.
And today, what are we going to look at?
We're going to look at the NFCI Vintage Indicator, the new update. Well, it's a new indicator completely, and it answers the question of what happens to the NFCI indicator each week that we kind of discovered.
Okay, so take me through it. This is some major changes to the NFCI indicator. We originally introduced the indicator a few weeks in the Power Pack, and we were pretty excited about getting this data from the NFCI. It's the Chicago Fed. And what does NFCI stand for again?
National Financial Conditions Index.
Right. And they publish it weekly, and we downloaded it and created an indicator for it. And like some other YouTubers, discovered that it was very good at predicting when to get in and out of the market. But we subsequently discovered that the NFCI revises the data after they publish it. So what we were getting was all these revised data. And then when we looked at the unrevised data, the edge that we saw pretty much disappeared. So we then went ahead and you did a lot of work to try and get at the unrevised data. So have I summarized this correctly?
That's right. And so the NFCI indicator as it stands is still the same indicator as it was. And we mark it as a peaking indicator because the history basically shows all the revisions in the future. Okay.
So I'm going to drag it in. So we've got NFCI, and it's now flagged as a peaking ahead indicator because, yeah, just like you said, it's showing this line is concluding all of the revisions that happen after the fact.
Right. So what we did is we created this NFCI Vintage Indicator, which goes and downloads all of the, they actually call it the Vintage series. And so basically you can get an NFCI indicator. Well, there's two things. The Vintage Indicator just by itself gives you the index data as it was released on that day. And so that's a non-peaking indicator. But it also, as the description that you're seeing there, it also includes this NFCI, the VintageAsOf method, which allows you to get the series, the NFCI series, each week as it was released. So the red line that you're seeing, you're able to get that line as it was released each week in the past. And so we're going to demonstrate that today. And Dion's going to walk through it because it's the first time he's put it on this computer. So, it's a little bit of a process.
Yeah. Like you said, I see here free API key. So yeah, kind of walk me through it.
All right. So the first thing to do is go ahead and click that link, and that'll get you to the Fred. Right. And so what you have to do actually is you have to create an account first and then request a free API key from the account. So let's see if you can. Yeah.
So I have an API key.
Okay. So you're going to copy that guy.
Simple enough. Okay. Copied it.
Okay. Now what's required here is we have in the Power Pack strategies folder.
Okay.
We have a populator.
Okay, so this NFCI Vintage populator?
That's the one.
All right, so I'll just open that, and I have to put.
And we're just going to. Oh, right. You got to put your everyone key. That's right. Out the space. Yeah. And it should just run on one symbol, and it's going to take it's going to take about 7 minutes at least.
Okay.
And there should be an update. Let's see if okay. Here's the NFCI full refresh. Anything else? Okay, so you can cancel the process if you don't want to do it by just entering anything else, but you got to enter a 0 to get it going. And then you can see in the status bar down there, it's
Yep.
Oh, it's going pretty quickly for you, actually. So it'll do this for every indicator and every year, every sub-index, I should say. So NFCI, AFA, NFCI, leverage, and all those.
All right. So let me pause the recording until it's done.
Yeah, we can do that now.
So yeah, we're still downloading it, but let's get an idea of kind of what's going on here.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you what. So basically, what's happening is it's downloading JSON formatted files. And Dion, if you can, are you able to show the an Explorer?
Sure.
Windows Explorer. Yeah.
Okay.
Then go to the NFCI folder. This is where it's downloading the JSON files, and you can see those updating now. Okay. Mm-hmm. So each year basically has the data for all the adjusted NFCI data, that sub-index for that year. Okay. And then the indicator is going to read these files. All right. Now, when you yeah, so you can see, for example, here, you can see NFCI risk, and there's like an underscore and a date. Mm-hmm. That's the date. Okay, so there's an if you go to there's like a date observation.
Hold on, let me. Let's open it up in a JSON viewer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here you can see it. There's a date. Okay.
Okay.
So for that date, the that's the observation date. So that's the actual date of the release, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's the vintage date. So the date so NFCI risk underscore, and then the next date that YYY,
yep.
Year, month, day. Yeah, that's the vintage date that it was released, and then the value for that indicator for the observation on that vintage date. Okay. And so you don't have to really worry about all this, but this is where the data comes from. You can see back, this is, back in 2014. So there's not, this is all adjusted. So back then it's not going to be moving as fast, based on the adjustments that have happened later. So if you go to like, a 2025 file, you'll see, these values will be quite a bit different. In fact, I think they only, there's a point where they go from 2 decimals into 4 decimals. So it actually gets more precise later.
All right. Well, it's good to kind of see how this is all structured behind the scenes.
Right. And so what happens is, this is, we don't have to download this data again, but and then when you run the indicator creates another file called whatever that is. It'll be called NFCI-update, and then that update file will contain all the vintage dates for all the observations since the last year that you've downloaded the file. So
yeah,
this is the only time you really have to run this is once, but it's probably good to do it once a year or two to get that last year, so that it'll make the updates.
Okay, so it's finished.
Yep. Okay. So now you can go back to your chart where you've dropped the NFCI, and can you maximize that so it's, because we're gonna, and then get rid of the volume pane maybe, because we don't really care about the volume. Yeah. And then, so now we're going to drag a NFCIVintage indicator. Now the indicator itself, the standard indicator, is going to give you, you can select just like you can for the NFCI, the sub index. But yeah, go ahead and leave it on NFCI because we got the NFCI there. And you say, okay, and this is going to give you this is actually going to download another series. Okay. And this is actually the initial release series. So we didn't do that yet, but this is, so the it'll take a little time for the first time that you do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to download another file, and that's going to name it initial release or something like that for this indicator.
Yep.
And that gives you the date. That gives you the data on the observation date for every
Wow.
for every vintage date. Okay.
So this
So
nice,
this is
smooth red line is
Mhm.
now like a choppy green line.
That's right. Yeah. So this is the initial release data on that date
Yeah.
for each one of those dates.
Crazy.
Okay. So that's okay. Like this is an indicator like no other, because now we have access to all the other NFCI adjusted data for each one of the vintage dates. And so Dion's going to create a C# program now, or maybe you can just go push that one to code, right? Now push to code. Yep. So you can see these are the typical indicators that we work with. The indicator 2 is the vintage indicator,
Mm-hmm.
and so indicator 2 is now a reference to that vintage indicator. And
So we probably
what we're going to do,
we want to make it strongly typed, I would think.
oh yeah, and good point. You need to make that a strongly typed indicator. So instead of an indicator base, we'll have to make that an NFCIVintage, right?
Yeah.
And now we have access to its method called VintageAsOf. And I think probably you can do this in execute, and we'll say, you can do it. What we can do, Dion, is I want to kind of try to recreate that visualization that I posted in the trading war room.
Okay.
And so what you can do is what you'll do is think about it. In execute, it'll be easy. We'll just say after if the year is equal to 2026, we'll post all the indicators from since 2026 started.
So if the year is equal to 2026, then we want to proceed.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So let's go ahead and so you would basically create make a time series. It's going to return a time series. So let's just go ahead and get a reference to a time. Let me think about this. How are we going to do this? So each time.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to do it on every bar of 2026, right?
Yeah, probably not. Unless you go to weekly, that would make it easy. You could also look at it as a weekly indicator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out a way to do this quickly while we're doing this on the video. But essentially, what you're able to do is okay. Well,
we'll just do it once.
Okay. Okay, and then okay. So you can pick any bar. Well, go ahead and just create the time series, right? Oh, okay, there's the logic there.
Okay, so we're going to do this one time when 2026 comes around, and what do we want to do?
Time series. Create a reference to a time series.
A new time series?
Yeah. Oh, no. So now indicator 2, which is the NFCIVintage indicator, equals, well, you could say equals, oh, sorry. The time series, the TS is equal to the indicator 2. Yeah. And vintage, should get the vintage, there it is, VintageAsOf method. And we're going to pass the bars and a date or a bar. So you can see there's an overload, so you can pass a date or a bar.
Okay. So
you can say index, because this is going to happen right after 2026 starts. And now you have access to whichever indicator is valid on that bar, which is going to be the first one in 2026. Mm-hmm. And we're going to plot it. So plot that indicator, that time series. Essentially, what you would do is if you wanted to access the NFCI data, adjusted data for any bar while you're, for a backtest strategy, you would grab it like this. So you would say, okay, what's the adjusted data for this week? And then you can use it as if you were aware of all that data for that week without peeking. And there's a lot of other things you can do with it too. You can, subtract and see what the changes were from the previous week and things like that.
Okay. Let's make it a different color. Yellow.
Okay, so now you can see that, there's the yellow indicator ends because it doesn't have any future data, right?
Right.
So you can see right after 2026 started, that's the update. Mm-hmm. And so you can see that's what the
yellow would have been like what the red line would have been if we would have requested it right here.
Exactly. On that date.
Interesting, yeah. So we can see how that red line changed
back in the history.
I mean, it was revised upward quite a bit, like in these months near the end of the chart. Yeah.
That's basically it. Okay. And so, I mean, there's really no limit to what you can do with this. Like I said, you can, access that indicator at any time and, the previous week to see what the adjustment was from the previous week and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
All right. So cool. I guess that lives up to our motto of stop guessing, start testing.
There you go.
So we can now work with the authentic data. We won't be fooled, and we will always deliver the true, authentic information. We won't try to fool people into thinking something is valuable when it really isn't.
Well, there could be some value here, but it's not.
I mean, trying to pass off this red line is something that's like some magical hack that is unlocking the secret of the market, like some people are doing.
Right.
Great.
And last thing is just to know when the indicator is updated. It's updated on Wednesday, usually on Wednesday morning at 8:30 Eastern.
Yep.
Or they say between 8:30 and 9:30. And if there's a holiday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, then it would be Thursday. And so this happens automatically if you create strategies that use this indicator. You would run them after that update and make sure that you get the update at that time.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Robert.
Okay. You're welcome.
And this will be in the newest Power Pack release, which should be available later today as of March 5th, 2026. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Bye.
Cheers.